Hey guys, I'm doing an update here on Link, and nothing to speak on the monthly. What jumps out at me right here on the weekly chart is the swing line buy setup. So you just follow the prior week's close, and you were not able to close above the prior week until basically right here. You got above the prior week's high, but then you closed above it right here. I call that an anticipatory entry. I teach that to my traders in the model. You either wait for the candle to close, or you're nibbling on the left-hand side of the cycle, and or you buy the break above the high, or both, or all three. Depends how you work into your position. But since this swing line move, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks up. Some pretty decent topping tails up in this region, around 8,000, 9,000 sats, followed by a pullback to the 8, made a higher low. So this market is longer term bullish. It's in an uptrend technically. The cycle doesn't have much to work with. When we go to the daily, much better cycle. You can see the pattern of lower highs prior to the market breaking out before the beginning of the year. Here's your lower highs, right? Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And then you start to get above this line. You start to get above the bands, and then all this is bullish here. So this is your first move up to a new high, new higher highs, right? And then the first pullback I teach my guys is buyable. When you have the start of a new trend, that first pullback you want to be all over. I've just recently discovered this token, but that was a great buy right there. That's a real money candle. It's a swing line buy setup. Could have added here, take some off, add back on the hourly and 4 hour, move to new highs. You held the bands here, moved to another new high, and then you basically held on to this 5,000 sats level. That's a pretty important level going forward. You know, the market got a little bit soft here, January, February. These highs were lower than these highs, but you're still long-term bullish here. Let's just look at the intermediate term, 4 hour. 4 hour looks cycle's pretty low. This is actually a good place versus BTC to maybe start a position. I don't have this token versus the dollar or Tether. But I'm gonna take a look at this, maybe start a new position here. But you can see the pie line, how this is indicative of what we call the southern hemisphere, a bear market. This is indicative of what we call a bull market. Your prices in the northern hemisphere. Pie line's rising. So I still like this on the long side. It's still long-term bullish. Intermediate term, there's some pretty good ebb and flows here. There's a lot of cycles you could be adding and reducing. So I like it. Yeah, the risk is right here. And anything we buy here, I'd be taking profit on the next cycle high, back into some of this resistance, and then maybe longer term we can take out these highs here and revisit some of the highs right after the ICO.